Happy Thursday to everybody. It's a few days in to the year. And when I say a few, I mean like 9 days into the month. More than a few days into the year. If you're like me and you've been up since 3:30 in the AM, you will say some things that may not make sense initially, but just stick around. Hey, I want to challenge and encourage you today to embrace your potential. I want to encourage you to really be big on you. And I want you to see that you have so much inside of you. Why do I want you to see that? Because I'm an enabler. And I have this assignment to help enable people to see themselves from their inner self, not from the self that they thought they were, not from the present version of themselves that is hindering the future version, but from a version of you that you've never been before, not to do more, but to become more. By definition, the word potential is having or showing the capacity. That's a big word for me. Capacity is a big word, but it's having or showing. By definition, potential is having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something for the future. I am an advocate of prophetic vision. Prophetic vision meaning seeing your life, seeing yourself beyond today and heading in that direction. Question is, may I ask you a question? What do you see in your future? And who does your future self require you to become today so that you can see that tomorrow? It starts with embracing your potential. This week has been a strong week because we've talked a lot about necessary endings and the sacrifices of what we will give up in order to go up. And goals require growth. It's good to have goals, but if we do not grow, then we never achieve those goals. And it's in that frame of reference that we've made a case that we switch our objective from achieving to, in fact, becoming. Because whatever it is a man attempts to build, he must first become it before he can actually build it. And so embracing your potential says this, that you dive into your inner world and that you know that you have to affirm. I'm not for sure if you're a big affirmations person. I've never been until recently, where I'm now discovering the power of self-talk, and that what you constantly tell yourself is what you begin to create. So a person who constantly tells themselves they're not enough, they never add up. But to the person who tells themselves, I am enough, you begin to become what you say. And because the more you affirm your own ability, the more you affirm your own capability and embrace your potential, it then unlocks that next level. It upgrades from the present version to a better version, because potential, again, by definition, is having. You already got it. It's already there. You've always been. Now it's just time to be. Potential, by definition, is having or showing the capacity to become something in the future. And so the first thing that we have to determine is that you are already it. Hey, good morning, Danny. You are already it. You you already have it. It's there. But for many of us, it's not cultivated. There were so many people who say what they are called to and then don't cultivate the call. And the call, when we say call to, we're not just talking about the preacher, we're talking about the person. Good morning, mother. It's the person who God has placed you here to be and to serve and to be an answer for. It requires that we first embrace the fact that potential was put in you by the one who created you. And I've been asking all month, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your number on how you are living out your potential? On a scale of 1 to 10, I can't answer it for you. You got to answer that one for yourself. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your number on how much of your potential are you actively living out right now? And regardless to what your number is, the fact that you are alive is an indicator that there is still time for you to increase your capacity. I'm at that word now because capacity, I say, is revealed in seasons of stretching. Capacity is revealed in seasons of stretching. Simply put, you don't know who you can become until you stretch yourself to become that person. You don't know what you can do until you train yourself to do it. Capacity is revealed in seasons of stretching. It always makes me think about those Flex trash bags that a cheap trash bag, you can't put very much in it because it will rip and it will tear, but they got these expensive bags called Flex bags, and the technology behind these bags is simply for this, that you can put more in those bags than you normally could put in a regular bag. And the only way you know it works is you keep stuffing more stuff in that bag to see how far it can be stretched. And sometimes the things that we are called challenges, the things that we are calling opposition, are really, in fact, opportunities sent to us by God to reveal this truth to us, that capacity is revealed in seasons of stretching. You don't know how much you can handle until God gives you no other choice but to just handle it. And you have to believe in your own potential to, in fact, handle it, because God reveals that you had more capacity than you thought you had. And so sometimes we're living beneath the level of our full potential because perhaps we listen to the wrong people, and perhaps we even listen to our limiting beliefs about ourselves, and we started self-sabotaging. And in the name of being humble, we've held ourselves back, and we have robbed the people who are assigned to us to pick the fruit that is on our tree, because we haven't embraced our own potential. But you have it. You have it. What do you have? You have the capacity. How do you know you have the capacity? Because there were some things that really could have made you lose it. But instead of you losing it, you leveled up from it. How do you know you have it? You know you have it because for the life of you, to this very day, you can't understand how you were hit with the things you've been hit with, and every time you've bounced back, you've gotten up, you've gone ahead, you've moved forward. And there were some people who know exactly what has transpired in your life, and they didn't even expect for you to make it out. You want to know why there are some people who still look at you crazy? You want to know why there are some people who still can't find anything positive to say about you, because there were some people who didn't expect for you to make it out of your stretching season. There were some people who thought you were going to fold. There were some people who thought you were going to crumble. But you, through the power of God, discovered how much capacity you really had, and you didn't even know it was there. And may I suggest to you that God sent it so that you can discover the capacity that you didn't even know you had. Capacity is what is required for us to make necessary endings. Capacity is what is required for us to come to a place where we are comfortable with disengaging whatever is dying, whatever is dead, whatever is diseased, whatever is damaged, whatever is deformed. Capacity is what is required for us to make decisions sometimes that will be good for us, but not for somebody else. Capacity is what is required for you to say, hey, this particular season, the biggest and the greatest project that I'm working on is me. People say, what you working on now? Me. what you doing now? Me. What are you building now? Me. Right? Why? Because whatever I do, if I do not build myself, then I do not have the capacity to do anything else. And the objective, again, is not to do, but it is to be. We've established, don't just have a to-do list. Get a to-be list. I got to be more present. I got to be more positive. I've got to be a better me. Get a to-be list. What are you determining? Because whatever it is that you desire to build, you must be it before you can ever build it, right? And so capacity is what is revealed in those seasons of stretching, and it shows us that you have what it takes for the future. And it made me think about, because I am a preacher, and although we're talking about unlocking your full potential, it made me think about the Apostle Paul in the book of Philippians, where he started writing to the church at Philippi. He started writing to the Philippians, and he said, he starts telling the Philippians, hey, I know that you all have done what you can do to help aid and support me in the work of the ministry. He says, but to be totally clear with you, I know what it's like to have, and I know what it's like not to have. I know what it is to be in want, and I know what it is to have plenty. I know what it is to be full, and I know what it is to be hungry. Paul says this, and you may have heard this verse before, Philippians 4:13. He says, I don't want y'all to have sympathy on me, because I'm telling you now, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Now, New King James and other versions says, who strengthens me, but the KJV says, which strengthens me. Why am I bringing this up? Because I believe that while it is in fact true that God gives us strength, I believe that a part of Paul's message was saying to the church, what strengthens me is knowing that God will give me strength. What strengthens me is knowing that whatever I lack, he already is. God, Paul says, I can do all things, he says, through Christ who strengthens me. So whether I'm up or whether I'm down, I'm embracing my potential, because my potential is not predicated upon, neither is it directly tied to anything in the material. It's always tied to the mantle. It's always tied to the prophetic promise that has already been spoken over the individual. And so we do not shy away from it just because things are not conducive, just because things don't look like they're adding up or they are lining up. Even if things aren't present, you got to make sure you're present, because as long as you're present, the things will show up, right? And so Paul says, I can. So I can tell you this, and I'm done today. Number one, I need to tell you this. It's personal. The potential, embracing your potential, it's personal. It's so personal that because Paul says, it has no regard to what you think. It has no regard to how anybody else feels. He says, but I can. It's personal, which means this: we have to be clear. You've got to be clear on your direction. You've got to be clear on your goal. You got to be clear on what it is, who it is, when it is, why it is. You've got to be so clear on it that no one else can help label or define it, because you've already determined it. He says it's personal. Then he says I can. So not only is it personal, but it's also possible. It's possible. And we've got to be so clear and convinced of our potential. Why? Because the Bible says, Ephesians 2:10 tells us that we are his workmanship, he being God. We are his workmanship. God put it in us. That's how we already have it. Potential, having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something for the future. How do we have it? We have it because we are his workmanship. We have it because God literally designed, created, orchestrated, and has built us for this present moment and for this present time. And so it has to be personal, and we got to keep speaking that it's possible. Can I talk to you, someone who's here now, someone who's coming later? Can I talk to you and tell you it's possible? It's possible. No, it's not. It's not what other people say. It's what God says. It's possible. He says, I can. Watch this. He says, I can do. So what is it? It's personal. It's possible. And then I'm going to tell you this. It is performable. If you would get up and do the work, you can see the results. Your results are your responsibility. You cannot wait on anybody else to come and be more convinced of your potential than you yourself are. Paul says, I know that regardless to whatever state I'm in, he says, I've learned how to be content in that state. And when you embrace your potential, it'll have you just like Paul saying, listen, I know I got the capacity. I'm clear on where I'm headed. And I'm so clear on where I'm headed that anything that is not in full alignment with my destination, it gets none of my attention. Sometimes our problem is we're giving attention to everything but the right thing, and then we've accomplished doing what other people wanted for us, and then we haven't done what God has assigned to us. And so we got to be clear about which direction we're headed in, and then start in that direction. And know that it's possible, even if someone tell you it's not. They told blind Bartimaeus, they told him, don't do all that. Don't be hollering and all that. But y'all telling a blind man to not to ask for help, but y'all can see. Sometimes you got to stop listening to the wrong people, because sometimes there'll be people who have theirs and you don't have yours, and they'll be living okay with theirs and also okay with you not having yours. And if you keep listening to them, then you'll never tap into your own. Bartimaeus says, no. Jesus passing by. Y'all can see, I can't see. So I got to holler in this. I got to get his attention in this moment. Why? Because he was convinced that it was very personal. It's personal because he's blind. He's the son of a blind man. It's personal because he's a beggar. It's personal because if he wasn't blind, then he wouldn't have to be a beggar. It's personal. And so he said, the only way that I'm going to get this fixed is if I get his attention right now. And it's possible that he will do something about what nobody else can do. I'm telling you, it's performable because you have the capacity to do it. And so my encouragement to you today, I'm done, is to embrace your full potential. You have to become so convinced and compelled by the power. That's what it is. He says it's through Christ and he says that's what strengthens me. What strengthens me is to know that I am capable. You want an affirmation for today? Just write it down somewhere. Say, I am capable. What am I? I am capable. It's not about my background. It's not about my degrees. It's not about my bloodline, but it's all about the fact that God made me who I am. And because he made me, he knows me. And now he wants me to know myself. And when we get to know ourselves, we start telling ourselves, oh, it's personal. What the reason why I'm disengaging from things that no longer serve me, because it's personal. The reason why I'm not entertaining distractions is because it's personal. The reason why I keep telling myself I can, even when the conditions are looking like I can't, is because I know that the more I speak it, sooner or later I'm gonna see it, and then it's performable. If I would just get up and start heading in that direction, if I would just get up and take the faith of Abram, who God says, go to a place that I'm gonna show you. I'm not telling you the name of it. I'm not telling you how long it's gonna take you to get there. I'm not telling you all of that. I'm not giving you all the details. I'm just giving you direction. Can I talk to somebody on my way out the door at 11:16 a.m. on May the 9th, 2024? God is not going to always give you all of the details, but he will give us direction. And he says, if you would just trust my direction without even knowing all of the details, destiny will be your reward for obeying the direction and not even worrying about the details. You don't need all the details. You just need to head in the right direction. Who am I talking to? Get headed in the right direction. Head in the direction of God. Head in the direction of possibility. Head in the direction of purpose. Head in the direction of promise. Head in the get going. Get started. Get up. What you waiting on? No, it's not one day. Turn one day into day one. Let today be the first day that you take a step in the right direction. I am healed. I am whole. I am better. Come on, you got to head in that direction. And it's embracing your potential to know that you already have, and you already have the capacity to become it. And once you become it, you're going to build it. And once you build it, you're going to see that God had already blessed it. Why? Because he won't always give you the details, but he will give us the direction. And when we obey God, God makes sure, further in Philippians 4, he says, and God will supply. God says, tell them I'm the source. The reason why you can embrace your own potential is because it's not from you. He says it's from me. I'm the source, and I shall. What do you mean? He says it's a surety. You can be, there is security in God saying that he will, and you know that it's going to happen. He says, I will supply all your need. Some of us right now need more confidence. Some of us right now need to be healed from those scars and the wounds of those negative words that were spoken over you. Somebody told you were going to be just like your no good for nothing daddy. And like blind Bartimaeus, you kept going to church even when no other man in your family believes in the God you believe in, but you knew the only way you were going to break that cycle was that you had to go and be in the presence of an almighty and a holy God who has the power to be able to break shackles and chains. You had to do it. Why? Because you knew that God said he would. God promised it, and whatever he promises, I like his economics. God's economics is whatever he demands, he himself will supply. I'm telling you, it's true. If whatever he demands, he himself will supply. And he says, listen, I don't give potential for it to be wasted. He says, but whatever I have promised. I'm willing to perform, but you've got to take it personal enough to be clear that where am I headed? I'm headed in the direction of God. Why am I headed there? Because God said I can. It's possible. And every day I'm making sure that I'm holding myself to myself and I'm making it performable. I'm doing what I have to do to make sure that I'm setting the right goals, not just to do stuff, but to be. I'm not worried. I'm not focusing on a to-do list, but I'm building a to-be list because I'm building a better me. A better year is going to require a better you. We're 5 months into the year, and there were people who started out in January with New Year resolutions and had all of these big ideas about what they would do and who they would become and what they would lose and what they would do. And now here we are 5 months later, and many of us that started and said we would do things at the beginning of this year just a few months ago never went back to it. Why? Because we've been distracted by everything but what we said we would do. And we will talk down on someone else who lets us down, but then we'll let our own selves down and won't even hold ourselves accountable to ourselves. It's personal, but it is possible. It's possible. It's possible because you already have the capacity to become something for your future. Your future self is going to require that you embrace your full potential. Whatever that you desire to build tomorrow requires that you become it today. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thank y'all for being on. Thank you for taking the time just to listen. Thank you. And I pray that something was said today that has challenged you, that has sparked you, that has encouraged you, maybe even convicted you to embrace your potential and live out your full potential in God. All right, Bishop Jacobs, I saw you on. I owe you a phone call back. Sister Veronica, I see you on. Janice Roberts, I see you on. Hey, Keita Lynn, I see you on. Sharita, I see you on. Prophet Kendall, I see you were on as well. Danny Moe, see you were on. Thank you for being on today. Hey, listen, help us today expand our reach. Help us today amplify this message. Tag someone who needs to hear this. Tag someone who you know struggles with embracing their own potential. Tag them today so they can get this message, so that it can bring life to them just as well as it has brought life to you. Hey, Pastor Gray. Hey, man, good to see you on, man. Thank you for being on. Thank you for letting me know that you were on. And we're believing God for His best over your life, complete and full recovery and good health. We pray over you in Jesus' name. Kevin Harris I just came in. Bless you. Thank you, everybody. Listen again. Somebody you know, if you are the somebody you know, you can tag yourself. It's fine with me. But someone who needs to embrace their full potential and hear this message, tag them in the comments today. Get this to them, because this is the month that they're going to have to come into the fullness of who they are. DA, I see you. Got something coming to you real soon. But listen, this is the month. May I ask the favor of you? Help us expand our reach. Amplify the message so that we can help as many people as we can live in their unlocked full potential. All right, that's it. I'm done.